When Jesus was here on earth, he taught so plain and so simple, but yet so profound. He presented himself in many ways, and one of those ways is as the water of life. Jesus truly is the water of life. We're going to read to you from John chapter 4, beginning at verse 5. So he came to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob gave to Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied from his journey, sat thus by the well. It was about the 6th hour of the day. A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink." For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy bread. Then the woman of Samaria said to him, "How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is who says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman said unto him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where then do you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself as well as his sons and his livestock?" Jesus answered and said to her, "Whoever drinks of this water will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst, but the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water, springing up unto everlasting life." The woman said unto him, "Sir, give me this water that I may not thirst, nor come here to draw." Jesus said unto her, "Go call your husband and come here." Today I'd like to introduce to you a wonderful friend we've met here in Israel. Arie Bar David was born here in Israel and has spent his life here. He has gathered together a lot of biblical information that connects Jewish culture with New Testament times. And so now here is Arie Bar David, our friend.
Thank you. Thank you. We've just heard now that Jesus called himself living water. In Hebrew, it's Ma'im Chaim. I repeat, Ma'im Chaim. I'm so glad that this is the word that Jesus said, I'm Ma'im Chaim. He didn't say I'm the running water, like you find it in so many translations. And what we will see now a little bit, what is the meaning of living water? Biblically, in Leviticus chapter 12 and then chapter 14, 15, it's first time that the Bible speaks about this termination or this terminology of living water, Ma'im Chaim. And what it says there, if we are unclean and if we come to the presence of God, we cannot come unclean. We have to dip, to immerse in living water. If we touched by mistake something unclean, if we visited unclean thing like a dead body, we cannot go to the presence of God. We have to immerse first in what? In living water. What is the meaning living water? First of all, living water is water that comes from heaven, what we call the rain, the Geshem in Hebrew, which has so much meaning. We will see it in other times that we will meet. So Jesus is like the rain that came from heaven, from the Father. This is the meaning of living water. Now the rain comes and fills the mountains, the rivers, the sea, the springs, and that's why everything that gets directly water from heaven is living water. Like river, Jordan River, for example, where John baptized Jesus and so many others. The sea, the big sea, is living water. The springs are the ultimate living waters. But we are going to see something else today. Not everyone can go and run and immerse in living water whenever he will touch unclean thing. Impossible. Jordan River is 5-6 hours minimum donkey's ride from here. What can I do? I cannot run to the Jordan whenever I'm unclean. We have around here a cistern. Now, a cistern has living water inside? No. Why? Because the water inside, they stay around 7 months in the cistern and they don't move. You see, it can happen that the last rain that will rain in Israel will be around April, and then May, June, July, August, September, October, November, no rain, and the water just stays in the cistern. What is the opposite of living water? No doubt, dead water. So the water in the cisterns or the water in the well of Samaria are dead water. And that's why Jesus said to the Good Samaritan, I am the living water. I can give you living water. It's not this dead water. Now, I want to show you what our rabbis, our sages, did in order to turn dead water into living water. Let me say first this. Whenever two unclean or unclean men meets a clean, ritually clean man, if the ritually clean man touches the unclean, what happens to him? He becomes unclean. If I touched a dead body and then my friend come and shake my hand, I'm father of uncleanness, he is son of uncleanness. And if somebody is touching him, he becomes a grandson of uncleanness. You see, always unclean touching clean makes it unclean. But look, something very interesting. If I take the dead water of the cisterns and I put them here in this almost like a cave, which we call it ritual bath. And that's what they did. They built this kind of ritual bath and they filled it with water from the cisterns, and remember, these water are unclean. But look what they did. They built a kind of reservoir. They call it treasure. And this treasure is higher than the ritual bath. And it contains water from the rain. From the treasure, the water can move down to the ritual bath by their pressure. And look what they did. They connected the treasure with the ritual bath. They made a little pipe down on the bottom of the ritual bath, in the bottom of the treasure. And after they filled the water of the ritual bath, they opened a little cover which was over the pipe there, and the water of the treasure touched the water of the ritual bath. The moment they touched them, they let them touch several seconds, they closed it again with the cover. The moment they touched them, the clean, the life water made the dead water alive. So this is the only thing that we have, that alive touching or clean touching unclean makes it clean. A living water touching dead water make it clean. This touching is so important, and we can feel it the most beautiful way in Matthew chapter 8, verse 1. What is the first thing that happened when Jesus finished sharing his teaching in the Sermon of the Mountain? A leper came. And we all remember that he fell on his knees and he said to Jesus, if you want, you can heal me. And Jesus said, yes, I want to heal you. And what happened? Jesus could just stand from afar and raise his hand and said, you are healed. And all would be perfect. All the multitude of people that were around would be very happy, because Jesus said 3 chapters, I didn't come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. And we all know that the leper is unclean. Nobody is allowed to touch it. Right? But that's not what Jesus did. What he did, look, he said, yes, I want. And he started walking step by step to the direction of the leper. Just imagine the multitudes of people watching, staring with their eyes, almost not believing that Jesus is going to the leper. Why he's walking to him? Why? Jesus showed it very, very clear. He walked all the way to him, and then he touched him. There was a big sigh coming from the thousands of people. I'm sure people say, he touched him, he touched him, he touched him. And this is exactly what Jesus wanted them to see. Living water touching dead water, unclean water, made it alive, made it again pure. And the touching of the Lord, this is all the difference. So here we see a wonderful system. The rabbi, they invented this system. And look how Yeshua, our Lord, is using their system of touching, and is using it and does it in order to give new life to a poor, miserable leper that needs so much this touching.